Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel and another top 5 video. Now today we're going to look at top 5 tanks to avoid buying, and what I mean by this is they're just not worth buying. It doesn't mean they're bad tanks, it just means that really they're not worth buying, because there's other tanks that you could get for maybe cheaper that's better. So we're going to look at just 5 tanks. I'm sure I could add a lot more than 5 tanks, but I've just chosen these 5 tanks because I just think they're not worth buying. And first up, we're going to go for the 121B. Now I like the 121B. The 121B is a pretty decent tank. It's got a strong-ish turret. But overall, I just think it's for sale for I think it's for sale now for about 17.5k gold. But use that gold on something else. Use that gold. If you're looking and you've got that gold, look for something else, because just go play the 121 or the T62A or the STB, because all of these tanks are better than the 121B. As I've said, it is still a decent tank that can still perform. But for 17.5k gold, it really isn't worth buying when there are other tanks out there that is much cheaper and much better. And again, some of them are tech tree tanks in tier 10, like the T62. So yeah, that's one tank that I do like, but I would definitely recommend not buying because it's just not worth it. Next up, we've got the T55A. And again, I like this tank. It is a decent tank, but it's usually for sale for around 10k gold. It's basically a T54. It's basically a T54. Most of the stats are the same as the T54. You might as well go and play a T54. You might as well go and play a T54 instead of spending 10,000 gold-ish when this does come for sale on a tank that is almost exactly the same. Again, there are a few stats a little bit different than the T54, but overall, instead of wasting your gold on the T55A, you might as well go and buy a T54. But it's just a waste of money. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad tank, but not to buy it because it's a bad tank. It's not bad. It really isn't a bad tank. I like the tank, but I like the T54, and the T54 is basically the same tank. So there is no point wasting your gold if you've got gold to spare, of course, and you've got nothing else to spend it on and you need the tank, then go for it. It's your money and you can do what you want. But a lot of players don't have that gold sitting around, and if they do have that gold sitting around, it's usually they want to buy something worth their money. And I just think that the T55A isn't worth that money because it doesn't really give you anything the T54 doesn't give you, sorry. So next up we have the TS5. Now this has been buffed and it is better, but again, it's one of those tanks that you might buy. It's boring to play. You will get some bounces in the tank. It's slow. It's got a nice gun, but yeah, again, there's other tanks out there that you're gonna buy that's better than this tank. The armor profile on a flat surface does get penned. This game we actually get very lucky. Now I don't have a clue why, but we've actually been put into newbie matchmaking. Every player on my team and the enemy team were below 5,000 damage. Sorry, 5,000 battles, and they were all useless. So I don't know why Wargaming actually put me in newbie matchmaking. Maybe they think I deserved it for the way I've been playing, or maybe my reviews lately they're not liking and they think I'm kind of a noob. But yeah, just this one battle. It was just literally this one battle I was put into noob matchmaking. Of course, if you're in a tank like this with armor, then yeah, newbie matchmaking, of course you're going to bounce shots and you're going to do well. But normal matchmaking, you don't bounce as many shots. There are other tanks. You've got the T28. Again, it's a boring tank, but this is pretty much just like the T28. Boring to play, very, very slow, very team dependent, and if you get caught out in the open, then you're just going to get ripped apart. So yeah, definitely the TS5 is a tank that I would say don't buy. Save your money, save your gold for something that is worth buying when it comes into store. Now next up we have the Super Persian. Now this used to be a very, very good tank back in the day because no one knew how to deal with the tank. Nowadays people only buy this tank because of the credit coefficient. It is one of the best credit earning tanks in the game. But what is credits now? Like, who cares about buying premium? No one ever now buys premium tanks for credits, to earn credits. That is just back, that's so 5 years ago. That's so 2017 or 2016, when you actually used to buy premium tanks for credits. Nowadays, no one ever buys premium tanks for credits. So that kind of makes this tank useless. It's not the same tank as it used to be. People know how to deal with it, and there are just better tanks out there than this. You've got the Sheriff. If you're going to spend 7,000 gold or so on this tank, you might as well wait for the Sheriff to come and spend that gold on that, because the Sheriff will come back excuse me, the Sheriff will come back and it will be for sale for around the same price. So if you're sitting there thinking, you know what, I want a Super Persian, I want to buy this tank, it looks like a good medium, yeah, don't. Save your money, because it isn't great. People know how to deal with it now. You're not going to bounce half as much as damage that you used to be able to bounce. And if you do want a tank like this, then 100% go for the Sheriff, because the Sheriff is actually a really good tank. So next up on the list, it is the WZ111. Now again, this tank is not useless, it's not bad, but there's just so many tanks like this. And I know this comes for sale for cheap. It does come for sale for cheap. Usually it does come for around 5,000 gold. But still, use that 5,000 gold, save the 5,000 gold for a tank that is actually worth buying. Maybe the WZ112-2. That's actually a really good tank. Or you have the Object 252U. There's plenty of other tanks out there, heavy wise, in tier 8 that you can buy that is better than the WZ111. Albeit, like I said, it is cheap. 5k gold is usually what this tank comes, and it can perform, but I just think save your money. And if you don't have any of the other heavies in tier 8, then you might as well buy that, because nowadays even the Object 252U comes for cheap. So I 100% would rather the Object 252U than this tank right here. You very rarely see this tank, to be honest. It's not a popular tank. I can't remember the last time I actually see a WZ111 in the game. So I did do a video on this a while ago. Pretty much it was like the top 5 tanks you just never see, and this was in there, and you still never see it. Even when Wargaming sell this tank, you still really never ever see this. I can't remember the last time I see one of these in game, right, other than me playing it. I really can't remember the last time I see people playing this tank. But as I've said, it does come for cheap. But even for 5k gold, save your 5k gold and just save it up for something better when that does come into the game. So that is just 5 of probably many tanks that I would recommend you just stay away, save your money, and don't buy them. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With